Does manifestation of your desires seem too good to be true to you? Does it seem too vague to be true, too unrealistic to be true, or too impossible to be true? Do you find it funny or too stressful? Do you try one manifestation technique after another and it seems to work rarely for you? Especially in case of your heart's deepest desires, it does not work at all. If your answer is yes to any of the previous questions, then this video is meant for you. Because unless and until you properly understand how does the process of manifestation work and why does the process of manifestation work, you will always find difficulty in materializing your desires. Hello everybody and welcome to Eternal Freedom. I am Manjari Sengupta. I am a non-dual manifestation coach and I teach manifestation through the beautiful Vedantic approach of non-duality. It is indeed the easiest, quickest and simplest way to manifest your desires and also the way to peace, ease and effortlessness. Today, we are going to discuss how manifestation works. If you haven't watched my previous video in the manifestation series, where I have explained what manifestation is, please go and watch that video before watching this video. Because in that video, I have explained what manifestation is, and today I'm going to explain how manifestation works. If you don't know what manifestation is, you will find it difficult to understand how manifestation works. So once you watch that video, come back again. Now the question is how manifestation works. We already know that we are all manifestation of consciousness. Everything which has an objective quality is a manifestation of consciousness, including each and every one of us, every living and non-living thing. It even includes our thoughts, our feelings, our bodily sensations. Now, manifestation of your desire means materializing the desires in this three-dimensional world. The desire that was within our mind is getting manifested into this three-dimensional world and it is getting a shape, a quality, an objective quality, and it is expressing itself into this world. Now, why do we want to manifest desires? We all of us have some deepest desires which we want to manifest. We want those desires to experience in this three-dimensional world. And these desires come to awaken you to your truth. These desires show you what is possible for you, what is your true nature. A desire to manifest a loving relationship is actually trying to show you that you are divine love and love is your true nature and you can always be in love. A desire to manifest more money shows you that you are freedom, that infinite freedom, abundance is your true nature. So that's why desires come. And now the question is, how do these desires manifest? And what is this external world, what we see externally through our five senses? What is this world? How is it happening? So in the previous video, I have said that even though we are not realizing it, we are unconscious of it, we are constantly manifesting. That is, manifestation is automatically taking place constantly through us. Now the question is, how does this process take place? How does things materialize into our world? How does our world appears before us? If we get to understand this concept, we will also get to understand how to manifest our desires. So, the three-dimensional world, the world that we perceive through our senses, even though it seems very permanent, it is not permanent. And if we get to our true experience, true understanding of ourselves, we'll get to realize that nothing of it is permanent. And only us, that is consciousness or awareness, is permanent, and that is the only truth of this universe, of this world. The world that appears before us is not a permanent world. There is nothing outside of us pre existing before we existed. So it is actually everything happening within consciousness or within us. It is just like a dream. Just as when you go to sleep, we create a dream world within our mind, this world is also an imagined, a dream world within consciousness, within awareness, or the divine mind. Now, the apparent world or the perceived world from individual point of view or individual finite minds appears in a way this individual mind thinks itself to be. So we as human beings have our own thoughts, beliefs, assumptions and conditions, and when consciousness localizes itself into a body or manifests itself into a body, it forgets itself, it forgets its infinite nature, its limitless nature, and it thinks that it is a limited, separate, individual human mind. When consciousness forgets itself, it starts to believe that it is limited, it has limited power, limited quality, limited knowledge, and it starts to believe in certain conditions which are not our experience, which is not its experience. So, if we see that consciousness is the infinite nature of us, consciousness is everything. And when consciousness localizes into a body, just like uh, the ocean localizes itself into a wave, similarly, consciousness localizes itself into a body and simultaneously into a apparently separate world. So the separate world is also something that occurs into the infinite mind of consciousness. It is not out of consciousness. And this separate world appears as per the beliefs of this human mind. The human mind, when it forgets its true nature, it forgets that it is limitless, it is consciousness, it is awareness, it is divine knowledge, it is infinite intelligence. It forgets itself when it gets localized into a body, and it forgets itself. And what it does is that it also forgets that the apparently separate world is also consciousness, is also itself, and it starts to believe that it's a limiting, separate, individualized being. And when it starts to believe that, based on these beliefs, the apparently separate world manifests. So, this means that we all are consciousness, and we have, as soon as we have taken birth into this three-dimensional world, we have forgotten our true nature. And as we have forgotten our true nature and we have taken our attention away from our experience, that is our experience of ourself, and we are focusing on the beliefs, assumptions and conditions, we are seeing the world as per these beliefs, assumptions and conditions. So for example, a human mind which has forgotten itself to be awareness or consciousness or infinite intelligence, and it is thinking that I am a separate being, and my condition is that I am a woman, I am this and this years of old, and I have health issues. Okay. For example, I have gynecological issues. The human mind has forgotten its true nature, that it is divine health, it is divine love, it is divine abundance. And the human mind does not pay attention to itself, its infinite nature, and it pays attention to the thoughts, beliefs and conditions. And when it pays attention to it, the outside, the so-called apparently outside world also seems like that, just like seeing through a colored glass. If you see through a colored glass, everything will see colored. Similarly, when the human mind forgets its infinite nature and it sees through the conditions, the beliefs, the assumptions, the external world seems like that. For example, if I obstruct my vision with a hand and I see through these fingers, the external world will seem like fragmented, within my fingers. And these assumptions and beliefs and conditions are also like these fingers which condition our external world. And we as human minds get so identified with the external experience and don't pay attention to our true nature, our limitless nature, that we create a story around ourselves, around these conditions, beliefs, and assumptions. So, I am Manjuri Sengupta, that's a story. I am a woman, that's a story. My hair is black, that's a story. My eye is black, that's a story. Who said this is black? What is black? It's just a human story. This is black. Who said this is black? It's a story, it's a name given by humans, right? So, who said I'm a woman? Who said that? Who said this is a body? Who said that? If we get back to our experience and actually experience what we are, we can see that we are not essentially a solid body. We are not essentially our thoughts, feelings, and sensations. We are not essentially a mind. But we forget that. We don't pay attention to it. And we get so ingrained with the experience and our assumptions, conditions, beliefs that we build a character of ourselves. Each and every one of us build a character of ourselves. And this character that is built up by us is called embodiment. Embodiment of a character. So, manifestation happens based on your embodiment. It doesn't happen based on your thoughts. It doesn't happen based on your beliefs. It doesn't happen based on your assumptions. But the entire story made up with these thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. The entire story that you have created about yourself, that I am these thoughts, I am these beliefs, I am these assumptions, this is me. For example, my story is that my height is this, that's a story, but that's my embodiment, that I have created a self of Manjuri Sengupta, having this much height, having these parents, living here, knowing these languages, etc., etc., etc. So these deep beliefs have created a character of Manjuri Sengupta, and that character is my embodiment of this, of consciousness, but unaware embodiment. And manifestation happens as a result of this embodiment. The one that we embody manifests into this external world. The characteristics, the qualities, the beliefs, the possibilities of this embodiment is what manifests into the external world. This is what we perceive from the external world. In this way, the external world always confirms our embodiment. And if we want to manifest something which has not been our experience, which has not been our embodiment, which has not been our assumption previously, we have to embody that desire. And once we can be able to embody that desire, the external world will reflect our embodiment. But when we learn about it, we think that now we have to forcefully embody a new character. We have to change our self concept, we have to change our thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, and embodiment in order to experience something, else than what has been our experience. But in believing that, in thinking that, we completely forget our true nature, that we have never been this separate self, we have never been these thoughts, beliefs, conditions, assumptions. These are not essentially who we are. We are not a finite mind. We are infinite being. We are consciousness. We are awareness. We are infinite intelligence and divine love, divine truth, divine abundance, divine health is our true nature. So, embodying your desires is not trying to impose a new self concept, a new self belief. Rather, it is resting in our true nature. And this is the easiest, quickest, and effortless way to manifest your desires. That is resting in our true nature, recognizing our true nature. And it is also the way to eternal peace, eternal ease, eternal freedom, and eternal happiness. If you like today's video, do comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to learn more about manifestation and how to manifest your desires the quickest, easiest, and simplest way, then leave a like and share this video, and I'll make more such videos for you. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can comment below, or you can connect with me through Facebook or Instagram. And I also offer a free discovery call for all of you who are interested. If you are interested in that, do let me know. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I love you all so much. Bye bye.